everyone, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. Loads been going on the Workbench this week. Loads to talk about as always, so we better get stuck in. This is Table Talk. Yes, hello, big welcome to you all. Welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name is Jason. You probably know that if you're watching this video. This is the video that the core followers of the channel tend to watch every Saturday. Well, a lot of them watch it during the week. It's interesting, I see comments popping up as late as Friday. So people get to it as and when they can get to it. But I put it out on a Saturday, I record it on a Wednesday. So here we are, Wednesday, recording what you're gonna see on Saturday. So, I mean, that's fine because it was a week since the last one, so I can talk about the week. But it does mean I have to talk about Friday's video, even though it's not been out yet. So if you're new to the channel, a big warm welcome. We are getting new subscribers every week and that's beautiful to see, but it's roughly half the volume that it was this time last year and this time 2 years ago. So I'm not quite sure what that's going on. I know another channel recently talked about it. I'm not aware of any changes in how YouTube are running videos, how videos get promoted and popped up. I did do some digging into it. If you're a YouTube creator, you'll know this, but YouTube put out little videos just for creators, and they have advice and tips and explanations on how things work. And most of the time, I don't pay any attention to. But I watched one about algorithm and how it affects your channel. And basically what they said was ignore subscribers, concentrate on your core people. Well, that's you. The people that watch this video are my core people. And when they say concentrate on that, they mean just put out the stuff that they're looking for. And the channel will naturally grow from there. But something feels like it's changed because typically I was on about between 250 and 350 new subscribers every month at this time of year the last couple of years. So the channel is growing, but it's averaging around about 150 a month. So it's growing slower than it's ever done before, and I have no idea why. So I was thinking about it and I've decided there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just gonna keep on putting out what I want to put out and people will either watch it or not watch it. I remember back in 1976, well I actually don't remember it, but I've watched, this is an interview I'm about to talk about, and I watched the interview many years later. And someone was interviewing Mark Bolan. Actually it might have been 1977 because they were talking about his tour with the Damned, which he was doing in 1977, his Dandy in the Underworld tour. And the interviewer said, you know, what would he do if he wasn't making music? And he said, well, I would be making music. You know, if people stopped listening, I'd just go and make records and put them out with a hand press and give them out to people. And that's pretty much where I am with the channel. People are going to watch or people are not going to watch. There's nothing I can do to change how YouTube is promoting or not promoting. There's a new feature called Hype. So if you see that at the bottom of the video and you think it's a video that other people should see, you can click on that and that helps promote the video apparently. How quite it works, I don't know. And why you only see it on some videos and not on others, I don't know. don't know enough about it to be able to talk about it, but I know it's there, and I know it's there so that you as the viewer can promote a video, which therefore then promotes the channel. So yeah, it's strange goings on. I've got a few things up my sleeve which I'm hoping will be popular over the next few months, and we'll be talking about some of that over the next few weeks, I guess. But yeah, one of the interesting things was volume of videos, which I always understood that volume of videos was important. When I first started this channel, which will be 5 years, believe it or not, next month. It's the 5th anniversary of Model Kit Stuff. I was led to believe when I first started that getting your first 100 videos out was key, getting them out as quickly as possible, and then maintaining a volume. And I sort of did that. And I've continued to do that because we've had between 3 and 5 videos every week for 5 years. That's why I'm going grey. Yeah, I haven't changed what I'm doing. But in the last few months I have. And whether it's that, I don't know. But what I can't do is carry on doing what I was doing, because at some point I would burn out and then the channel would stop. It'd be over, and I'd be readdressing priorities and stuff. And I love doing this, so I don't want to do the stop thing either. What you got to do, like with everything in life, you've got to find a balance. And I'm not always very good at finding the balance. It's that the autism can drive me when I perhaps don't need to be driven or don't even want to be driven. And my need for structure and routine often can trip me up. And so we've deliberately reined back on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing and gone possibly Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And actually the other stuff videos have been helpful because I don't do any editing with them, or very, very little editing. I put them in. There's no intro titles, there's no outro. It's just the raw footage put in and maybe a little bit of joining together. 5 minutes, upload it, create a thumbnail, 5 minutes, job done. I have a template for the thumbnail, so all I've got to do is put an image in and a comment about what it is, and that's it. So that's been helpful, and it's maintained volume. But what they've actually said is, what's more important is not the volume but the quality of the video, and that's where the problem is. And we talked about this a little while ago. Quality can be subjective. So I remember a little while ago we had the issue where I had the copyright issue with music, and loads and loads of people said, well, actually I don't like the music in the videos, and we got rid of the music. And you'll have seen the music's crept back over time, because actually I think the music, particularly the intro and outro, gives you a more professional feel. But also when you're watching a first impressions of a kit and you're seeing all the pictures, the close-up pictures, that long dead silence, it's deafening. So I think a little bit of music in there is helpful, and I use the same piece of music all the time, and we keep it on a low level. But I just think it's needed. So, you know, there are some people that try and talk over music, and that for me never works. I think it gets in the way. I find it hard to hear what they're saying. You can't turn it up because you're also turning up the music volume. So, you know, I'm never going to have videos that have got lots of music in or anything. But I do think in certain places it adds a more professional, thicker, warmer feel to the video. You know, and the creative part of making those videos I quite enjoy. So, and you probably picked up on that. Sometimes I can be a little bit over arty with them, and I know that. Sometimes I can't help myself. Sometimes you're seeing quite a reined in version Like the Space 1999 intro, that's quite bells and whistles, but it's nothing like how it started. Originally it was based on the exact same season 1 introduction, and we just replaced imagery and we had the same music and everything, and that, you know, that's 2.5 minutes of introduction, which on an hour-long video you think actually that's forgivable, but when you're watching a YouTube video, 2.5 minutes feels like half an hour. It's strange how YouTube videos feel very different, and there are some people that have quite elaborate introductions, and even more elaborate than mine, believe it or not. And you start thinking, right, when's this going to finish? And I have had a shorter, more condensed intro, and it wasn't quite saying what I wanted to say. So again, I come back to balance. It's sometimes hard to find the balance. I want people who have never watched one of my videos before, who come across it, to understand what else I do. And that's why we have a little bit at the start before the music, because I want people to engage in the video. Then they're much more likely to sit through the intro. Then they're much more likely to see, oh, he does all these other things as well. Then we can get on with the video. So, you know, there's reasons why I do things. So yeah, that's a major tangent right at the start before we've even got going, isn't it? We've gone well off there. But yeah, it's, you know, new subscribers, you're welcome. Tell your mates, you know, encourage other people to come and watch, because there is something on here for everyone. And yeah, I don't know why the subscriber growth is slow. But it's interesting that somebody else has been commenting on it as well, which suggests to me that it's perhaps a more universal issue, and maybe YouTube have changed something to the detriment of the people they're supposedly supporting. And sometimes, got to be honest, it feels like YouTube are working against you sometimes. But anyway, that's not prevent me putting out lots of material and creating lots of material. So let's get on with the show proper and start with a quick jog through what we got up to last week. Well, the first thing to say is I've had a bit of a disaster this week. I have a spreadsheet which has everything on that I'm doing with the channel. It has what I've done and what's coming up, and I can rearrange things and stuff. I have 3 columns with planned stuff, and I've got them highlighted in different colours, so I know what's recorded, I know what's not recorded, and then in the actual timeline I know whether it's been edited and uploaded as well. So I'm clear where I am at any given time, and something has gone wrong. So that spreadsheet, I have access on 4 different devices, and at some point it's reverted back to an older version, and I have lost about 3 weeks worth of progress. It's an utter nightmare. It means I've got to go back and fix it to understand where I am, and it's a couple of hours work. So that's a couple of hours I'm not on the desk, or I'm not editing videos, or watching a film with the kids or something, because I'm having to rectify it. So pretty annoyed. That's never happened to me before, so how it is that that's happened, I don't know. Pretty annoying though. So I'm having to use YouTube to tell me remind me what we got up to last week. So and the YouTube, it messes things around, because it's not necessarily in the order, because it sees members only videos differently to published videos. A members only video isn't considered published. It's not out there for the whole public, it's just for members. So the sequencing isn't always right. So forgive me if I get some of this sequencing wrong. So if you were a member on Sunday, you would have seen a behind the scenes of filming a first impressions video. Actually, the Grecian. and you know, one of the more complex first impressions videos, because it's a much bigger kit than any plastic kit is, and it's got more, takes up more space on the desk and all that. So it gave you a good overview of that, and then if you were a member, you got I think you got how to organise my paints. Oh, sorry. If you're a subscriber, you got how to organise my paints. That's right. That had previously been a members one that then got released and made public. So it was basically me reorganising my paints, which, you know, it's done all right. It's had a few comments, got a 98% like rate. So yeah, and it's always interesting to see how other people organise stuff. And one of the things that's happened this week is we have reorganised. So this stuff is a modular storage system. Lots of modelers use it. Hobby Zone is the brand. And this is stuff that I've had for years and years and years. When I had my modelling space up in the attic, this is what I used. And I've got tons of this stuff. Still got tons of it in the attic. But you'll be accustomed to have seen me with loads of these little organiser pots on my desk, and things sticking up and sticking out, and things to hand. And actually I've got fed up of the feeling of clutter from that, and I decided I wanted to go back to my drawers for the stuff that I like to keep to hand. So behind all this stuff over here is backup, ancillary, occasional use, all that sort of stuff. The stuff that I use all the time I have out here in my drawers. So, you know, knives and stuff like that. So rather than them all sticking up in a big bunch and, you know, possibly cutting myself, which I didn't do, but there's always the potential, they're in a drawer. It just looks tidier. It's still a functioning room as well as being a modelling room. So that's helpful. So we've had a bit of a reorganise. I'm waiting for a new paintbrush organiser, because this one, although I loved it when I first got it, it drives me crazy. Because as you can see, the paintbrushes are all stuck in different directions because there's nothing behind the hole to keep the paintbrush in a straight line. So they slide everywhere and they get stuck behind each other, and I don't like it. So we're getting a new one that'll go across the top of that, which will end up tidying up this little bit of space. This is probably done, but not definitely done. I want to work with it for a couple of weeks and bed it in and see if it's the right thing. But we're having a clean, which we do periodically, washing everything down and what have you, and getting everything clean. I was installing a new multi-plug system, so I've got access to plugs just behind my computer now, which I haven't had before. So that allows me to run some computer cables, but also things like my power tool plugs and stuff on the top of the desk rather than underneath the desk, because that gang of plugs is almost full anyway, because this time of year my mobile radiators come down. So and then when I'm working I've got other plugs in and stuff. So I just felt like it was time to reorganise. It's never been a perfect space down here, because we have a solution that we can close up, and actually we never close it up. This never gets put away. When we were first putting it in, we envisaged we'd be closing it up all the time, and we don't. And if we'd known that we were not going to be closing it up, I would have gone for a different solution, because whilst this works well in the space it provides, I would have organised things differently to better fit my needs. But there you go. Having said that, this is what, 3 years old now, this closable movable cabinet that you see here, and it's holding up well. The only issue I have is sometimes the weight of paints in trays means that the little runners collapse. That's a bit of a cheap solution that doesn't have much strength. So at some point I really should look at putting some hardboarding or something, but I never get around to it. I just don't have time. So yeah, that was Sunday. The paint organising, reorganising, and we talked about paint last week, didn't we? Which some people found quite an interesting topic, I'm pleased to say. Right, so that then got us to Monday, which was is that right? Yes? Monday was the General Lee build part 1, 4 members only, and not for all members, because you know that there has to be a demarcation between someone who's paying 99 pence a month and someone who's paying £4.99 a month. So you know there's a big difference in the spend, so there has to be a big difference in the reward for each level. So it will be a members only build video series, either until I have completed the build series, or until the end of the Wheelie Things group build that it's being built in. So yeah, so if you're interested in seeing that build, then you need to be a member, and you need to be midshipman, I think it is. You need to be on the 499. That's the only way to see that build until, I don't know, March maybe, when it might then get released. I might release it to all members first for 6 months and then put it out public. But what I did in that first episode is I went in detail through research notes and what that then meant for that model, and then we started a little bit of working through cleanup. The next video will be largely cleanup. I've done 2 weeks on it and I'm still largely on cleanup. We'll show you a little bit more soon of current progress. But yeah, now that sounds all quite negative, lots of cleanup and stuff. I'm enjoying it so much you wouldn't believe. It's a proper fun build because it's testing your mind. And right, how am I getting over this problem? How am I replicating that part so it looks right? How am I making this thing fit that has been designed to just hover without touching any other part and stay there? I mean, literally, the front grille on that car had no contact with any other part when it was in its right place. It was a gap all the way around. And that's the problem with old tooling. Plus also I found that the front quarters are 2 different lengths, 2 different shapes. The list that I do at the start in that first video is tiny compared to the ever-growing list as we go through the build. So yeah, but that's the fun. That's one of the elements of modelling that I enjoy, problem solving. And if you make models too easy, then it becomes a bit like building Lego, and that's a different thing altogether. You still get a sense of achievement, and there's still an element of fun in it, but you're taking away the challenge, and you're then taking away building the skills, and for me you're taking away a large element of the fun. So that you have, again, we're talking balance, you have to find this point where you've made it a model easy to construct, easy for the modeler to get from a box of parts and get to a completed model they can be proud of, but without making it so much plug and play that it becomes boring. And I often say this about Tamiya kits. They're well engineered, they go together great, but boy are they boring to build. They're so boring because there's nothing there to test you. It's this part goes to this part, yes it does, and then the next one, yes it does, and then you have to play around with build sequences just to add a bit of spice into it. So yeah, and that's sort of why I'm really enjoying this very old 60s tooled Dodge Charger, because no parts fit, no parts don't need clean up, no parts don't have flash, no parts are correct. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's almost like one of these restoration companies saying, we've found this barn find, and out comes like a couple of wheels and a bit of broken chassis and the windscreen, and everything else has just got to be binned. That's almost where we are with it. But a lot of fun, and I think that will come out in the videos. And someone said to me, "This, you might not have intended this," and actually I hadn't, but this is a very much absolute beginner's how to tackle model cars. Well, yes and no. If you want to tackle a modern car, a model car, and you're an absolute beginner, don't buy an old tooling one. That can sometimes be difficult to understand, because two of the, certainly in the UK and in Europe, two of the larger brands of model cars that you can get hold of, out of the sort of the big three, Hasegawa, Revell, and AMP. Two of those are notorious for re-releasing old tools and not telling you the age of the tool, so you don't know what you're getting. But try and get a more modern car. You could get a Tamiya car. They tend to be a little bit more complex and more detailed, but they also tend to be boring modern stuff. That, why do you want that? Personally, I prefer the older cars, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I stop really at the 80s. There might be one or two that, you know, if they're really iconic, that I could possibly just about manage from the 80s, but I have no requirement to build a Nissan Skyline or any Ferrari or sports car like that. They just don't tick my box. No racing cars, no rally cars, not interested. But give me a classic car and maybe turn it into a hot rod, or customize it in some way, or even stock with a different paint, then I'm interested. So yeah, that was what came out on Monday, and yeah, it's had 53 views out of how many members have we got now? 78 members currently. So most members have watched it. I appreciate not everyone's interested in cars. So then we had the members only Wheelie Things group build update, which went out the following day on the 6th. So you got a little bit more of an update of where I actually was at that point, and a bit of a reminder on some of the parameters of the group build. And then Wednesday, today, we put out the 172 scale Sword Randy. So, kit brand I'd never heard of, and an aircraft I'd never heard of. And someone said, "Oh, I'm surprised you've never heard of Sword." Well, you've got to remember, I've only been building aircraft for 5 years. I used to build them as a kid, but not very many, and mainly so I could put them in a diorama, and it was all 172. With the exception of, I think it was the Matchbox Curtis 132, and it was just a scaled up 172, and it was plain and it had no detail, and I just thought, I'm not building this scale again, and I didn't. In fact, when I built the Wingnut Wings Gota in 132, I think that was my first 132 build since the mid 1980s. So I've only been building aircraft for about 5 years, and most of those have been Airfix aircraft. The vast majority of them. There has been a couple of Edwards in there, more than a couple actually. Yeah, I did build a Revell one, didn't enjoy it, binned it. Sorry, there was two Revell ones. One I built without the paint and just kit bashed it. There was another one I built and it was just awful, so I ended up chucking it away. Nothing aligned. It was just It's just a pig, and I wasn't invested in it enough to enjoy it like I am doing with the General Lee. So I don't really know aircraft and aircraft brands that well, and when I think about the aircraft that I've got, it's mainly Airfix that I've got. I have got some Tamiya stuff, and I have got some Wingnut Wing stuff, and I've got one or two other brands, but I'm not big into aircraft. I sort of started building aircraft. I've told this story before, because I was at Telford with my partner once, and I walked past this stand and it was nothing but aircraft, and I think it might have even been one of those stands, you know, a specialist SIG where they only build Harriers or Tornadoes or something, and mind-blowingly we only build the same model over and over again, and it just looked the same. And I walked past and I went, God, aren't aircraft boring? And Paula's comment was, well, at least they're more colourful than all those boring battleships you make that are the same colour. And that got me thinking maybe a splash of colour was needed. So I built an aircraft, I enjoyed it. I built another one, I enjoyed it. And so then we started thinking, well, if I'm going to build aircraft, what aircraft should I build? So then I built a 172 Edward Spitfire, which was a stunning kit and came out really well. Then I bought another Edward kit, and then I did a couple of Airfix ones. Then I did another Edward one, and it was a pig, and it ended up getting binned. We built that one on the channel, the Lysander, and it was just put me off Edward. And then they brought the new decals out. I'm gonna digress if I'm not careful and catch myself. So I'm not too au fait with aircraft. It's not a specialist subject for me. It's not something I'm massively interested in. I don't really go to air shows. I don't follow aircraft. I don't read around aircraft. I'm not particularly interested in aircraft history. Ships is more my thing, but I do have an interest in cars, and I've never really expressed that in modelling. We'll come back to that later. So last night you would have had the Panzer I from Tamiya Part 3, and we really get to grips in that video with the paints a lot more, the enamel paints we're testing, and we do quite a bit of figure painting, or the very starts, the basic of the figure painting, building up the black costume, which we don't paint black so that we can make it look black. All's explained in the video. If you've not seen it, go and do that. It's actually uploading now here as we speak. It's got an hour to go till it's uploaded, and I haven't created the thumbnail yet, but we're all there, present and correct and good. So that was last week, which gets me on to what happened last week on the modelling bench. So it was General Lee week, and yeah, show you where we're up to. Main body is ready for first prime nearly. We've got some work to do at the back around the bumpers where there is actually no bodywork, and there should be bodywork behind the bumper. So the body panel goes in to allow for the bumper to wrap round it. And how they express that in the model is they just leave a massive gap and void for the bumper to hover in, and it looks dreadful. So you can probably just about see the gap there. So we need some plastic to go in behind that on the inside to give you that impression. It's the same on the front. I've already done it at the front. So this is the part that doesn't touch anything. So the grille touches nothing. Doesn't come into contact with this or this or the bottom. In fact, I made it touch the bottom just so I could hold it still. What I've done is I've built up shims on the inside of the quarter panels, front quarters there, so that it's in contact with something. And you can see I've got some plastic card on there where I'm building up the length, because this one is shorter than this one. Bizarre. Engine is built up. That was a lot of work. It's not going to show up too well on camera because it's been primed in black ready. But you've got the block in two halves. that needed a lot of work just to get it together without a gap and not have to use tons of filler. Then we sanded off the texturing on the of the cast parts, getting rid of the join seam. So then we had to put the texturing back on. All the parts needed loads of cleanup. We've had to scratch build some location points for the spark plugs because they'd done them wrong, and then drill those out so we can put wires in. We have drilled out the distributor, just distributor cap, so that'll take wires as well. What in the UK is commonly known as a dizzy, but apparently that's an unknown term in America. Certainly when I had a Mini Cooper, and I used to bomb around in a little red Mini Cooper with a white roof with my mates who were all in the Mini Owners Club. That's what we called it, dizzy. You know, we used to soup up our cars and mess around with them, and a lot of fun it was too. So yeah, we've done that. Bonnet's been cleaned up. We've taken the fan belt and thinned it down so that it looks like a fan belt and not a great big plank of wood or something. Dashboard has been cleaned up and now it's primed. It actually doesn't look too bad, and I think we'll paint up quite well, so pleased with that. Yeah, I've had to scratch build a fan. I'm not 100% happy with the fan. We might do a little bit more work on that yet. Interior is cleaned up and primed, ready for paint and carpet and accessories. It seems you can get lots more aftermarket in the US for cars than you can in the UK. It's really hard to find anything in the UK, but in the US they've got loads of people selling tons and tons of photo etch to make door handles and all sorts of stuff that you just simply can't get in the UK. It's very frustrating because I'd like some of it, but the shipping prices are silly. You know, I wanted to get internal door winding handle, so I could get it a photo etch fret, $5, $16 to send it to me. Oh, why would you do that? That's your floor pan, primed, not painted. That looks pretty good and nice and tight now it's been cleaned up. That was such a mammoth job. I mean, that was hours of work just to get that looking usable. So yeah, still loads of parts, big pile of parts here waiting to be cleaned up. I'm currently working on this, scribing in the leaf springs, so you've got individual leaf springs and not a solid piece of plastic on the side. And then what I'm going to do with the tailpipes is I'm going to whip them off, replace them with plastic tube, which we're then going to squash to give you that elliptical opening that it has. So yeah, but still in the process of cleaning that up really. So that's where we are. It's progressed, but it's been two weeks of scraping, sanding, shaping, replacing. Yeah, it's a bit of a trudge at times, but I put Dukes of Hazzard on the computer, and that inspires me to crack on with it. Oh, we've also removed all the wiring cables from all of the engine compartment bulkheads, so that we can put actual wires in. And what we'll do is, I've removed all the clip points as well. We took photographs so we can find it all again. But what we'll do come the time is we'll use some lead sheet, so lead foil sheet, cut it into thin strips, and then cut it into little rectangles. And what we will do is we will glue them on, lay our cables, and then fold them over and clip them over just like on the real thing. So that will be fun. Okay, that is pretty much where we got to with the General Lee. But I did manage to find some time to push Lady on a little bit. We started painting. So you can see the white stripe. This is just the first coat. It'll have 2 to 3. And what I've done is I've painted the white stripe on all the way around, and then my insides, these areas here, also white. My top rail is going to be white, and my inside is going to be white as well. Now, because I'm spray painting in white, I've been able to spray paint that, and you can still see where the laser etching is for placing the parts, so that's perfect. But yeah, it's coming up okay. For speed, I am not doing the perfect hull. I talk you through how to go that, and I do the process, but I'm only doing it once, whereas you probably need to do it 2 to 3 times. But also for speed, we've done the sanding and filling process using primer, so that when you do the final prime, you can just put paint on and you're not having to rub down in between paint coats like they do in the instructions. Not that there's anything wrong with that way. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm just doing it with primer. So yeah, it's coming together really nicely. And you know, as a novice build, I think it's actually a good size. And it's going to be rather eye-catching when we get the fishing nets and bits and pieces on it, the figures on it. So yeah, so we've just started out on painting in the white, and then that'll carry on another couple of coats of white, and then we can start masking off the waterline, and then we can put the red on them, in my case the dark blue. So that's what we got up to on the bench. Next week we'll be focused on Lady Ellena. It's Lady Ellena week. So on Friday night, last night, as you're watching this, I'll probably be trying to put more coats of white paint down so that I can be masking off. But while paint's drying, we can be doing some of the other stuff, making some of the deck furniture, marking out the mast and that sort of stuff. So there's things we can be doing while we're waiting for paint to dry, and we'll be doing that in the sequence that I do it, so you get how I'm doing it if you're building it as an absolute beginner. Right, so that's the bench sorted. So let's quickly talk about what I think might be coming up next week, possibly. So because my spreadsheet's a bit of a mess, I'm not 100% sure where I am. And what's really annoying is I just tidied up the spreadsheet and put the plan in to get me through to December, when things start going a bit differently than the norm. So, bit annoyed, really. What I think we'll be doing is Lady Ellena on the Friday, and the first impressions I think is a vehicle, a truck no less. And certainly if your name is Dan, you will be very interested in it. That's what I'm expecting to happen, but don't hold me to it, because if this takes me time to sort out, I might not have time to edit a Wednesday video. I might just have Fridays. Don't know. Whether I'll put anything out, other stuff, also don't know. Anyway, that is the very, very loose plan. And it sounds loose because it is. Now you're probably wondering why that's on my desk. Well, it's because we're going to talk stash ads this week. So you will remember I got myself a gangster car in 1/24 scale. And then I got a gangster figure in 1/24 scale. I've got some more figures coming from a supplier in Poland, and I ordered a small number of them, and they've cancelled 2 of them, and I'm not sure which 2 they've cancelled, so I'm waiting to see what happens. Not had that delivery yet. But you also remember I bought some 135 gangsters from ICM. Yeah, I think it was ICM. And I was sort of saying, right, well, now I need a gangster car. Anyway, good friend of the channel, long time friend of the channel, Jeff Donahue, he pointed this out to me, and I looked at it and thought, you know what, that absolutely fits the bill, sort of the right period. So this is actually done as the Soviet leader's car, and it comes with a couple of figures. So I think you get a Stalin and a Brezhnev or a Khrushchev or something in there. I think there's 2, maybe 3 figures in with it. So they might be interesting for future builds, although, you know, I'm not quite sure that I want to build a model of Stalin. But the car itself, even though it's for Soviet leaders, is actually an American car. So it's a Packard. And it looks suitably gangster, doesn't it? And maybe we won't do it in black. Maybe we'll do it red with cream wheel arches or something like that. Or have I done one similar to that? I might have done one similar to that. Or, you know, find a cool 30s colour for it rather than black. I don't know, but it looks like a cool kit. It actually looks like it's not overly complex. So yeah, that fits the bill. So that's what we got. So it's the Packard 12 1936 model, and I think this is armoured and what have you. Not that you'll tell on the model. So yeah, thank you, Jeff. That fits the bill perfectly, and we'll do a first impressions of that at some point. So there you go. So this week I thought what we'd do is talk about Telford, because we're getting ever so close to Telford. So I can't remember what I have and haven't said, so we'll just run this by you all. I have talked about this. There is a members update video coming along, and I'll talk in more detail about it in that video. So that's something else you'll see next week. But the plan is that I'm there for 2 days, 1 day of shopping, 1 day of filming, roughly. I'm staying overnight at my hotel I booked some months ago. I have renewed my membership, so I don't have to pay to get in, and I can get in early. You can't really get in early though, can you? Because you have to queue up, and by the time you've got in, everyone else is allowed to go in. So you don't really get in early. You just queue early. But anyway, so that bit's all sorted. So the last thing to organise is the sort of evening out thing that I'm planning to do for members. I'll be talking about that in the members only video. So hold your water till then, and I'll be asking you to let me know if you're going. I've already put a post up in the social group, but not everyone that's in the social group is a member, or there's members that aren't in the social group, whichever way you want to think about it. So yeah, Telford's coming up, and that's got me thinking about Telford, and I'm at that point, it's October, and I start thinking about Telford, and what that means for me is I need to start doing an inventory. What is it I want to absolutely, definitely come back from Telford with? So for me, I tend to always buy my adhesives at Telford because the prices are the same as online, and I'm not paying for shipping. So that's a given. I'm also looking for maybe a new tool, something I've not spotted before, maybe a new product so that I might want to try. Is there something being promoted? Is there a new supplier, a new company? I'm looking for those things. I may buy into them if I think it's of interest. I'm always looking for Tamiya airbrush cleaner, although I do have some at the moment, which is fabulous. So I do this inventory. Are there specific paints I want? I mean, if I come across a stand and they've got Tamiya enamels, I'll be buying a load of them because they're really nice paints. So, you know, there's all of that sort of stuff that I take inventory on. Tools, I don't generally need any. I might buy filler or something like that. Tools, to be honest, if I buy any tools, it'll be because I think it might be of interest to you guys, and we'll review it on the channel. So that's sort of what I do. Now, in past years, what I've done with model kits is I'll just see what's there and see what takes my fancy. And the danger with that is you can blow your budget and then you see something you must have. And then you're either overspending your budget or you're not getting it. So a couple of years ago, there was the old Airfix Waterloo set there, 172 with all the farm buildings and the French and British. And I really fancied it, and I didn't get it because it wasn't dead cheap, certainly cheaper than I'd get it on eBay or something. But it was just going to finish my budget off. And I'm sort of glad I didn't get it now, because 172 is getting a bit of a small scale for me, certainly for figures. So yeah, and it would have been a nostalgia purchase because I had some of the farm buildings and the figures, but not much. So it would have been a nostalgia build, and really sometimes they don't come out so well, I've found. So yeah, but usually I just walk around, and I might, like last year I said, oh, I'll just buy something that's unique or different, or I wouldn't normally buy, and I bought mainly aircraft, as I recall. And yeah, it was sort of wandering around aimlessly. Whereas this year I've got more structure. And we'll talk about this a little bit more probably in the new year. But as you know, I watch a lot of car restoration programs, and I'm really enjoying the General Lee. So I've decided this year I'm mainly going to be shopping for car kits, because I don't really have 125 scale car kits. There's one particular car that I'd love to get, which I have built before. I built when I was a kid in the 80s, 86-ish, 86, 87 probably. And I'd love to revisit it again and do a proper job of it, and that's the ZZ Top Eliminator, which is a custom Ford. So I'd love to get hold of that kit again if I could. I can't just buy any old one because it's got specific ZZ Top yellow and brown decals that you need. They do come up occasionally, but I haven't seen one for a long time. And you see them and you're not interested, and then when you get interested you can't find one. That's how this happens with kits. So I'm going to be looking for car kits primarily, and I've already said what my interest area is. It's sort of 30s through to I would do 20s as well for the right thing. And it generally tends to be American cars rather than European cars, because I quite like the muscle car thing, really. And a lot of the restore programs are sort of America or Canada. Rust Bros is Canada, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know. That's where my mindset is. So I'm going to Telford with a loose plan. We're gonna buy these kits that are sort of cars, and I usually pay no attention to the car stands, so there'll probably be no cars there this year because I'm looking for them, but that's sort of where I am. Cars and anything that might be unusual or just grab me, possibly. Now, we haven't bought many kits this year, so that means the budget's a little bit bigger than last year if I need it. That also means that I could buy into some things that I don't normally buy into, so we might look at some display cases. There's someone who makes lovely display cases who's there. We may get some plinths for I've got some busts, so I might get some plinths because there's always a plinth stand there. I usually update my paintbrushes every couple of years, and this year is the year, so we could be doing that. So yeah, that's where I am. So my question this week is, what do you do? Do you just turn up and see what happens? Do you have a plan? Do you have a shopping list? Have you got it written out? I've got to come back with this, and this. Or, you know, do you know, right, okay, Jadlam's going to be there, and I know that Jadlam will have this new release, so I'm going to buy that new release. So you don't buy it now because you're going to wait and hope you can get it there? Or is it you don't want to rely on hope, so you buy the kit anyway and then see what you can get while you're there? I mean, how does Telford work for you? It's the busiest model show in the world, apparently. It's the largest model show in the world, apparently. So yeah, for me, I can't do anything without a plan, but not everyone's like me. So do you just go up, wander around and see what happens? Do you go with a budget, a hard budget, and I'm not spending more? Or do you just see what happens? I take my credit card and hope for the best, that I don't max it out? I mean, how does that work? One thing I should say, if you've not been to Telford before, and you're going this year for the first year, take cash, because the signal in there is dreadful, and all these companies turn up with their little digital readers so that you can contactlessly pay or put your card in and tap the pin in, and they just can't get a signal. It doesn't work. So cash is king at Telford if you've not been before. But yeah, tell me, what do you do? How do you plan? Do you have a shopping list? Is there something that you always buy at Telford? Every year I buy adhesives at Telford. That's what I do. I take stock. I need more CA. I need more this. I need more that. I get a year's worth of adhesive every year. Do you do that? Or is that, you know, do you end up going to Telford, come back and go, oh, I need some glue? Or, you know, I'm interested to know what you do around this, because some of you will go to lots of model shows, and I tend to go to 2, 3 tops. This year I'll be doing 3. Last year I did 3. I can't think of a time when I did 4. So tell me all about it. What do you do? Do you plan? Do you not plan? Do you just turn up and see what happens? I'd love to know how you tackle Telford. Because some of you, of course, I'll be talking to at Telford, and it'd be good to see how you're getting on with that. So let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much. Until I next see you, you have a great week, and don't forget to enjoy your modelling. It's the most important thing. Bye for now.